Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Gerald Lyons. I worked for the vocational school since 1987. I just retired from there in June. I started as a cooking teacher back in the 80s. I went to Hudson County Community College for cooking, and I went up to about 5,000 pounds. My brother's a heart surgeon, so I could add the kitchen like stuff through the door. So I moved out and I became a history teacher, and that was boring. So then I became a librarian. I took down all the Be Quiet signs and I made it more of an interactive library. And then I became a director, and then I retired as a principal for a program for kids that didn't make it the first time in high school. Kids that had dropped out, were homeless, were having issues, were, whatever substance, whatever things could cause you not to be successful. So I did that until I retired. And now I'm an adjunct professor for St. Peter's University, and I work for Hudson County Community College as an evening director for them. I'm working on, it's not my idea, but it's never been followed through. There's a stretch of our city from Hudson County Community College going down past St. Peter's, down to NJCU, and Esther Winter, who's an activist in the city, she mentioned years ago, like, someone's trying to name that like College Row, to bring attention to our three schools. We have three really good schools right here in the area. And so I've been mentioning this, trying to get some momentum behind it. It's a county road, trying to get the city, the county, the schools involved. I meet with the three presidents of the colleges, and they're very much supportive of it. And they've been great. They're working on a lot of good things. We're working on a new program, not new, but newer. Patrick was, if I can talk about you, Patrick. There's a program called dual credit, where LEAP, when Patrick was in school, where you take college classes while you're in high school. And Patrick was able to graduate in 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, Patrick, correct? Because he took so many college classes while he was in high school that he was able to get out early. And we said, Patrick, get out early, go do something, and we'll let you, so that year we let you come back and do the prom, and he was in the yearbook, and everything he would have done as a normal senior, he did with, I was his class advisor. So he did that stuff. Meanwhile, he was out going and getting a degree. So he had finished up enough credits, he was going and getting it done, so then he went to Montclair State, if I'm not mistaken, and got it done very, very early. He took big advantage of that. County prep was in the forefront of that. We got involved in our kids, and when Patrick was there, we had 250 kids enrolled taking college credits. The perks of, if any folks have kids or grandkids that want to do this, the perks of that are, if you take say, English comp while you're in high school, you get a 3-credit college class done for about $170. That same class at St. Peter's might be a few $1,000. Not only do you get those 3 college credits, you get 5 high school credits, which is an entire year of English. So how Patrick got out early is he was knocking off all the requirements to get out of high school early by taking these college classes, and colleges love seeing that. They love seeing that you're college material, you're serious about your education, and that's a way of getting yourself advanced. So that's something we're doing right now. We have already an agreement in place with St. Peter's, NJCU, and Hudson County Community College. So if you know anyone wants to take a college class, have them speak to their guidance counselor at their high school and look into that. We had a hidden fair this past Saturday at number 7 school to get 7th and 8th graders to start looking at what they're going to do in high school. My niece, I'm from Wayne originally, my niece went to Wayne Hills. In 6th grade, they start working with you on college planning. In 6th grade, they think, you might not know what you want to do when you grow up. I still don't. But you want to start figuring out to get a good, solid foundation for the future. So in 6th grade, they start talking about what might you want to do. She graduated 3rd in the class of 400 from Wayne Hills. She was on the ball. She was a fencer. She did all kinds of stuff. She was going to Princeton. That was her dream, Princeton. And Princeton came to her house and said, you're not getting into Princeton. You're one of 5,000 white middle-class females with this much credentials. You're not getting into Princeton. It's just too competitive. You have people who are royalty from around the world to send their kids to Princeton. So she ended up going to Rutgers Honors Program, 200 kids in the program, totally free. And when she was done with that, she was offered a free master's and doctorate at 7 different schools. She has her, at 28 years old, she had her doctorate from UCLA. It all started in 6th grade when they started saying, think about your future. And I think there's a need for us now in Jersey City to start saying, look now at 6th grade, what do you want to do? And to address that, we've just opened up, we're opening up in September, Miss Marilyn Roman, the only female mayor of Jersey City, and a councilwoman, and a freeholder, and my personal idol. She is working on, and she's invited me to be a part of taking this. We're going to be opening up a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade pre-vote program in a school in Jersey City to get kids to come in and start learning. We're going to have technology, culinary arts, 4 different programs that kids are going to rotate through to see if they want to do something vocational. Yvonne, you were saying this at City Hall, and I was saying in school board meetings.
everyone was like jumping up and down saying, hey, we're getting local control. Newark, Patterson, Jersey, all getting local control. I'm like, this is very suspicious to me. Why are these 3 huge districts all being returned to our local control? What have we done that's so amazing? You keep telling us our test scores are horrible, these other issues are no good, but yet you're returning us because we met all this criteria all of a sudden. And we had a big meeting and everyone stood there, got pictures doing it. And I kept saying, how will this impact us financially? And everyone said, you keep saying that, it's not going to impact us financially. Well, the ink wasn't dry yet on the papers. And we were being told, oh, we're cutting your funding now. Now, part of the problem is because we live in Jersey City. Newark and Patterson are not going through the same situation because Jersey City now has become extremely expensive. And they judge your monies they're giving you on the value of the city that you live in. Patterson's done all right, but nothing like Jersey City. Newark's starting to move up, but nothing like Jersey City. And our properties go up. The state says, you're from a rich city. You should be collecting taxes from all these people who have these $1 million homes. So therefore, we're going to lower how much money we're giving you because you have a higher tax base. Now, we all went through the reval, and we saw what they did. I mean, some people's taxes downtown, Yvonne, they're at $40,000 now. I know people live down in Grandin, Washington, went from like $12,000 to $38,000 in that one fell swoop. You know, so I don't know how you can afford to pay $38,000 unless you have a really good job or, you know, whatever, you have a good account there. But so part of the problem is our city has done so well financially that the state looks at us and says, your city is very valuable, therefore we can lower what we give you. The other part of it is, and we've had issues with this, and I know many people are aware of the pilot program, which is payment in lieu of taxes, meaning you open up a new building, and we're going to work with you. I work for the city, I'm going to let you put your new building in there, and guess what? It's going to be real sweet. We're going to let you come in, but you're not going to pay the regular taxes. We're going to give you the pilot program. And you get money that's paid to the city, but it's not the standard operation. When that happens, the school gets cut out of that. The school doesn't get... abatements? Yeah, the abatements. The school doesn't get any money from that. Typically, if there's $1, the school will get 24 cents, and everyone else will get, the county gets there so much, the city gets there so much. When you have these pilots, it goes to the city, and then the school district is left out of the equation. You know, so that's part of the problem. And Yvonne's right. We are every year now facing more and more and more cuts. So the school district is suing the state saying, you guarantee us that we will be able to educate our students properly, then you have to give us the money for that. We can't just do this. And people say, well, your budget is X. You know, you should be spending less. If you look at, say, in the Heights, 27 school, 28 school, 28 school had 5 administrators. So it's a big school and a successful school. They had 5 administrators. They had a principal, 2 vice principals, and 2 directors. Now they're down to 3. So Yvonne, I don't know what the solution is for us. I know that we're going to be asked to increase homeowners taxes. We had people who used to come to the board meeting saying that we're wrong because we wouldn't increase them. This one group kept coming to us saying, you need to increase homeowners tax by 35%. I said, I'm a homeowner. I just went through a reval. 35% is a huge amount of money. Yvonne, they're talking about going from 50 to 75 to 120 to 150. I mean, I don't know how we can possibly exist if we have $150 million. I kept saying gap, and it's not a gap. Gap means that we spent money we didn't have. There's a deficit that, you know, we don't have the money we need to run the district.
What about that 1%? How much did you get from that business tax?
You know, it's funny, I just asked that question the other day, how much it impacts each homeowner, because someone was saying, we need to increase this by at least X percent. So I asked the school board to tell me, how much does each 1% affect a homeowner based on, say, a $10,000 tax? My house tax is $10,000 and change. So how much is 1% going to impact me? You know, if it's $60, okay. If it's $700, then you're talking about increasing 3%, that's $2,100. That could really seriously impact someone's life. If you're a senior on fixed income, if you're a young family working with 2 salaries trying to get by, you know, we have to be realistic about what we can expect people to pay in the community. I know the mayor's discussing another tax by people commuting in. I know that the developers were fighting the payroll tax, which is generating last year $27.5 million to us. It generated a lot more. People said, you didn't take all, that's the most we could get. We took every penny the state said we could get. Even though it generated more, we're not able to get that more. You know, so we took whatever the state said we could get. So Yvonne, the answer is they're talking about well over $100 million. You know, so we have to figure out what to do. And we are actively working. We had a 3.5-hour closed session meeting last night.
They have, last year there was a huge issue with us going in and laying off people, and There were some people that were brought back because you have to lay off because you have all the unions involved. We're a civil service district, means you have to be civil service compliant. It's not like you just say, hey, Gerald, go home. We don't need you. We have one too many history teachers in this room. There's a lot of stuff you have to do. So we did make serious cuts, and it's difficult. You know that, and I tell everyone that these are needed cuts, and we're probably, they're looking at another deficit this year. So I'm not sure how it's going to impact us, but I think that we have major changes going on now. We have a new superintendent that was voted in by the school board, and I can tell you right now, I guarantee you, when I was not in the majority, when you're not in the majority, you can say whatever you want to the cows come home, you're not getting anything done. But I was not in the majority, but I was able to get something done. November of 2017, when Joel Torres was a board member, and Amy DeGise, and Marilyn and I, and Lorenzo, and a few other people, I went through the book. Now, if you saw the board meeting if you were really bored, you watched the board meeting on Facebook on Monday night. It was like this, the books that we have, we get them on a Friday to read for Monday. Now, I don't know who can do that. Unless you're like, what was that, Evelyn Wood speed reading or something like that, where you're going to grasp. So I go through those books, and I go through the areas which I think I might be able to catch stuff. In this November of 2017, I went through the areas of consultants, because there was a lot of fat in consultants. A lot of fat. I don't know who was getting what or why they're bringing all these consultants, but that one night, there was $1,050,000 worth of consultants for us to vote on in that book. And I raised the roof. I said, these people are being paid $444 an hour to come in and consult. They don't cure diseases, they don't walk on water, they're meeting with small groups of teachers. And we're going to discuss some, ahead of the curve in education. And we're going to meet with them, and we're going to have a nice 8-hour session. $444. I said, you're buying lobster, and you can't even afford chicken nuggets. I said, there's families in this city that's their food budget for the month, $444. How dare we spend this money like this? And I made a point of saying how embarrassing it would be for us, and it was cut. All that were stopped. We did not pass one of those that night, $1 million. We had a company called Source for Teachers that was brought in to be a private company. And I voted against it because Source for Teachers was bragging to us. We have 7,000 substitute teachers we can provide your district because your district is short of subs. 7,000. I said, I don't want 7,000 teachers coming into our schools. I said, we have the same subs that ride the bus with the kids come into the school. They know who belongs, who doesn't belong there. We put out a bid, an RFP, saying anyone that wants to apply to feed our district, then you must, complete all the paperwork. Then they're sent in. I attended the food tastings, where they had in number 15 school and another school. We went there and they prepared. I said, this is kind of like ridiculous because they're bringing the board members in to taste the food. You know they're going to do the best thing possible. It's like when you have relatives over, you're going to put your best foot out there and do the best food. So that's not really a fair example, but we did it. So so whoever applies to the RFP, then we pick, like they usually go for the lowest bidder. So when you're paying the lowest bidder, you're not getting filet mignon. So it's going to be Bill.
Charlie.
I
used to be Bill. I want to use the microphone for you guys. Okay, listen, I just want to say a few words. I've known Gerry Lyons for many years, okay? And he's been a member of the Board of Education for at least the last 10, on and off. 6 years.
On and off 10.
And you've run. You're very familiar with the goings-on at the Board of Ed. So he's done a great job, okay? And so have other members of the Board of Education. But I see a big threat right now to the way we do business in Jersey City as regards to the Board of Education. Recently, Mayor Fulham, last month, stated he wanted to create a referendum, which the City Council passed, to allow this to go on the November ballot, that the Board of Education will no longer be elected by the people, but appointed by the mayor. So that means you, who just got re-elected to a 3-year term, will be out in June of 2021. And people like him and the 8 other members will be out the door. The mayor will then appoint his people, okay, to be the Board of Education. And at this point in time, you have to go into a real mess with a certain member of the Board of Education, which is now before the courts and so forth. It created a black cloud over the board. And this board has been struggling to bring it back, vitality back to the board and honesty back to the board, and I support them entirely. I know they're working hard, all of them. But the idea is that once these guys, and he's told he's got to step down in June of next year, who is going to watch the money? Is it only the mayor who appoints? Now, you got to remember one thing. There's over 600 school boards in the state of New Jersey, okay? Only 15 are appointed by mayors, and the rest are elected, okay? This is democratic. In the last 30 years, I think, we've elected the members of the Board of Education, correct, Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, this is not good. This is not going to be good for the city, okay? And frankly, I don't trust that the mayor is going to do the right thing, because I think, this is my opinion, that he will be on the side of the corporate interest, and we're going to be up the creek.
You're right, right.
Okay? I want you people to remember that. Many of you in this room may have voted for this man. I voted for him. Okay? So, that's it. We're going to lose our voice on the Board of Education. And we all got to remember that. We all have to remember that. This is very important. Thank you.
Charlie, thank you. Okay, can I respond to what Charlie said, and then 1, 2, 3? Yvonne was interviewing me at her house years ago, and Karen's father said to me, Karen's Brzezicki, they own Brzezicki's Tavern. So he came in one day, and I used to hang there because I knew the girls, I taught them. And Mr. Brzezicki said to me, "You're not going to win." I said, "Okay." He said, "Run, but just understand, you're not going to win. You're not backed by anyone. It's just you." I said, "Okay." He said, "You don't know what you're getting yourself into." I said, "Okay, but I'm going to run anyway." I ran and I lost. I got 1,000 votes. I was very honored by that. Well, you're the best. Thank you very much. Do you have any ice cubes and fun? So then I had like a full win again the next year, and Yvonne interviewed me, and she had great questions, and it went out there, and I lost again. And my father said, "You know what they keep saying, if you do it, you keep doing the same results, then you're a fool." And I said, "Dad, I'm going to keep running." So I ran, and I lost again. And then the Jersey Journal put a picture of me. It looked like I escaped from a crack house. And it was on the front page of the Jersey Journal. And I did a whole lesson. I was running the library at the time. I did a whole lesson on yellow journalism. And I said, I don't know where they found that picture, but literally I looked like I was, was waiting a needle to be hanging out of my arm, so. And I said, and they had a big headline, which was unbecoming. And I used it as a lesson in my class. I said, "Guys, this is what happens with the media sometimes. They can take you, and then people form an opinion based, look at that guy, look at that, this says something about a crack deal down below." The crack deal had nothing to do with me, but just happened to have a highlighted story. So I finally said, "I'm not going to run anymore." My kid said, "You keep telling us don't give up, and you're giving up." I said, "Okay," and I ran and I won. I had been appointed at one point and everything else, thank you, and I appreciate it. And I take it very seriously, because a lot of my students have come to me and said, "I need help with whatever," and I take that stuff seriously. I ran again, and I lost again. And then I was appointed again, and then this past fall, like a fool, I ran again, and I won again. I'm serious about it. I've run, I've spent my own money, spent a lot of my own time. It's about 30 to 40 hours a month if you do it right on the school board. And I ran with Gina Vertibello and Lorenzo, and maybe that was the problem. They both kept losing. Two of the three of us should have found better partners, because all of us kept losing. But we did it seriously. This past election, someone called out Gina saying, "You've run 4 times and you've lost 4 times. When are you going to wake up and realize that people from Jersey City don't want you?" And all of us had so much time to talk about why we should do it. I said, "I'm not going to talk about myself. You don't know me, that's all right." I said, "Gina ran 4 times and lost 4 times, and she keeps coming back to the school board meetings. She takes it seriously." I said, "Most of you 16 are going to run, and after the election, you're going to run. We'll never see you again. Well, you come in for whatever reason to get your name out there or do whatever you're going to do, and then you're gone." Some people ran, and we never even saw them at a board meeting. I said, "Well, I'm glad to get you into a board meeting now, at least, because you're running for office." I take it very seriously. I don't know what your thoughts are on whether you should have the right to vote for us, or if that should be given to the council and the mayor. I personally think you're an intelligent person. You should vote for who you want to vote for. And hopefully the person, when they get up there, is going to do what they need to do. And then you have not given up your right to vote for who's sitting on the school board. And if someone is not doing their job, you have the right to come to our meeting and say, "You're not doing your job, you need to leave." And there are people who have called out people about that. But your first question.
Okay, I have a couple, because I do it.
And you have a good, strong voice, thank you.
I want to know, besides, I know you work very hard as far as the school board is concerned.
Very
But,
good.
who hires the teachers?
Okay, good question.
Because I know of people that are born and raised in Jersey City, still live here, and applied for positions, and didn't get them, but there's people outside of Jersey City that get the jobs. Like,
Okay, the answer's real quick. I had absolutely nothing to do who's hired. If I tried saying, hire Marcia, I could lose my job, I could lose my position for ethics violations. We cannot say that. The reason they don't want that happening is they don't want me going as a board and saying, I know all these people, hire them. So what I can do is vote on them. So when someone comes, like on this agenda now, we'll have probably 30 people that are being hired in different capacities, maintenance, bus driver, whatever, and I say either yes or no. If I say no, it has to be for a good reason. Like, I'm saying no to that bus driver because I know that that person's had 15 accidents, you know, whatever reason. Right, drugs, whatever. But I can have no say whatsoever who is hired for the district. So that's a good question.
okay. Another question, I am a retired teacher.
You are a retired teacher. I noticed the glow coming for you, so I knew something happened.
I wonder, like, what I'm wondering is, does anybody, like they talked about laying off teachers last year, does anybody talk about laying people off on Claremont Avenue?
Yes, in fact, we've laid off a whole bunch of people. And part of what we did when we laid off a whole bunch of people, we lost, I think, 30 supervisors through the district. We laid off a bunch of people. I can't give you the exact number. I don't want to tell you wrong information, but I can find out and tell you on. But we laid off a whole bunch of supervisors. Again, that's up to the discretion of the superintendent, but we looked at where there was fat and how we could cut it, or it might not have been fat, it's just that where we need to just remove people, and that happened. So that we did do that at central office.
Because I had an experience going to Claremont Avenue, and when I walked into the office, there were people on both sides of the little walkway, and they were playing video games. So, you know, like, what are they, you know, like, what are they, what are they there for?
Show up. It was better than sleeping.
Yeah.
Show up, that's what.
And you talk about hiring people for advice and that kind of thing.
Hire people for what?
What did you call it? Consultants. When I was teaching, the Board of Ed was paying people to come in from Australia to teach us how to teach. And and they were talking millions of dollars. The teacher that came in to observe me was actually living in Hoboken, where the Jersey City was paying her rent. I mean, do they still do things like that? Because
I know the old superintendent got a stipend when she came in for different expenses, but I don't know of anyone else. I don't think the current superintendent does. I've looked at his contract, and there was no kind of monies there for any kind of like rent assistance.
okay.
As far as you're saying about the consultants, well,
We're still paying for the prior superintendent at Port Liberté, correct?
that's a lawsuit, so I don't want to talk about that, so I can't really talk about that. But if I could say about your comment about consultants, like I said, with the whole script, instead of us bringing her in, having her work with, the teachers at number 15 school, or the teachers at 27 school, we had to teach all the supervisors and said, now you turn it around and bring it back to your schools, bring it back to your departments. So I think that's a more effective way of doing it. You know, as a teacher, if you have a skill, you could show the other teachers, and we have a lot of talented people in this district. If we can show them and then share with the other people. So that's what we're doing. We're not doing the old consultant thing of, and I agree with you. Why are we bringing people from all over the place? We have enough talent in our own district, let them share it.
And where is the pre-vote school going to?
We're looking at doing the southern end of Jersey City because we have a school that's got the equipment and the rooms set up already. So we're looking at, the program we're trying to do right now is where we have kids fed into that school, like you had brought up about the cost. So there'd be no additional cost, there'd be no additional staff, it would all be done with our own current staff, but it's going to be in the southern end of Jersey City.
Because 40 and 41.
That's what we're looking at.
The scores are really,
We're looking at those schools specifically.
And unfortunately.
We also looked at 9, looked at a bunch of other places, but it looks like I can't guarantee you that. I'm hopeful that in the next few months we'll be able to say, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's a meeting tomorrow. Every week, Marilyn Roman meets with all the different administrators, and then she meets with the union. Part of the problem as a vocational teacher is we have the unions come in and say, hey, we hire your kids, they can't pass the math test. We have a carpenters union, and they can't pass the basic math test. We can't have them work for us if you can't tell me how many inches are in a foot. Show me where 3/4 of an inch is on a ruler. So what we're doing now is making sure these kids, we're going to work with the union, saying what skill set do they need to get into these unions.
Whatever happened with A. Harry Moore?
Brilliant question. Okay, we are, the building, the portico fell down, thank God, the day before the kids started coming, so the whole thing just collapsed. It's an old building, a beautiful old building, an old Art Deco building, but it needs work. So we had engineering teams coming in and saying, let's look at the school, and we're waiting for the reports to come back. We also had appraisers come in saying, how much will it cost to get this building back to where it should be? Now, here's the problem with A. Harry Moore. The land is owned by the state. The building is owned by the city. The NJCU teaches the kids. Our kids go out of district to that building. We pay $1, NJCU pays $1 to rent the building from us a year, then we pay our students to go to that program. And here's the problem. You know what we pay per student to go to that program at NJCU? $70,000. $70,000. Now, if you've ever been there, those are kids that have a lot of challenges. So you're talking about kids that need a lot of assistance, and we're not worried about spending the money on them, but we want to make sure we're spending $70,000, and the parents seem
Per
very
kid?
happy.
Per kid?
Per kid. More for some. If you happen to be a child, God forbid, that needs a full-time nurse, you're paying $70,000 plus you're paying for the nurse. Here's what I fought for 6 years, and we're finally doing it. There's a software called Verified Residency. Verified Residency looks at all the kids that live in the district. It's just a software program. They charge like $1.40 per kid. And what I'm going to do then is look at all the data that comes back and say, hey, Mary says she lives on South Street. However, every literature we have for Mary shows that she lives in Camden, Cranford, whatever this is. And they commute here. Her PSE&G bill, her driver's license, her paycheck stubs are sent to them. That girl doesn't live in this district. So I've been fighting for this and fighting for this and fighting for this. So finally, the former superintendent, because I made it stink at most meetings, did it just with the charter schools. Because we pay for the charter schools, $70 million. With the charter schools alone, we identified I was told, I haven't seen the data, this is what they told us, 200 students that do not live in our district that were attending the charter schools that we were paying for. So I said, this is not the only group. You're talking about 30,000 plus kids. I said, we have all this information comes back there, and people are asking, why do you have so many pre-K kindergartners and they all drop off after first grade? They must be going to private schools. I said, not going to private schools. What do we offer here in Jersey City for our pre-K kindergarten? What do we offer?
Free.
Free. If you live in Lyndhurst, it's not free. So we're coming here, use your sister Tessie's address, have them come to our programs. We're going to pay the $16,000 a year for your child who lives in Lyndhurst to come here and go to our pre-K pre-K kindergarten, and then first grade comes back, it doesn't cost them anything. What do? You take it back to your district. So I'm asking for information on that.